said that he would not give it to his children. Well, that tells me that's enough.
I don't think his children have ever been vaccinated. I remember.
No, I don't know. No.
What you?
Evening all, evening. The chat.
Good evening, everyone.
Evening. Can't hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. One, two, is that better? Okay, all right, thank you. Welcome everyone, welcome. Now I'm going to be talking about allergies in general, just in general. But if anyone has any specific allergies that they want me to talk about, then just let me know. Just put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself, let me know what allergies you want me to talk about. But I'm going to be talking about allergies in general and how to get rid of allergies. All right, we got one straight away, peanut allergies. Yeah. All right, let me write that down so I don't forget. Your mic isn't working. Skin allergies, lactose intolerant, hay fever. All right, I'm gonna go over those. Mute everyone. All right, who's that being reported? Good. Nut allergies. So a couple people have asked about nut allergies, liver spots, hay fever, lactose intolerance, skin allergies. Oh, let me go to that. All right, so eczema, nut allergies, hay fever, lactose intolerance. All right, so when it comes on to allergies, I'm not sure if this question about yeah, copies of the slides from the course. Not copies of the slides from the course. We got the people who have booked onto the course straight after the webinar on Friday. So I know some of you are joining us today. So big up the new students joining us. So with the course, you get downloadable worksheets. So once you log into the members area, you watch the video and then you can click on download the worksheets and then work through the worksheets. So the worksheets is like a summary of the video and there's a Q&A at the end. Now, if there's a slide that you like, you're like, wow, that's a powerful slide. What you can do is just pause the video and take a screenshot. Like on Macs, I think it's Command 4 to take a screenshot. And on your PC, if you're on a PC, then you can just press print screen.
Mm-hmm.
So have it big and then press print screen, and then you'll have a screenshot of that slide so you can have that slide for reference. Because I know a lot of us were visual learners, so we wanna see what the worksheet is referring to. So you guys can just take pictures and screenshot the videos. Remember, you've got access to the videos throughout the rest of the year, so you can watch it, rewatch it, free watch it, like, and continue to watch it. But yeah, anyone who's just joined up, thanks for joining onto the course. Take your time going through the course. Like, there's no time limit, so you don't want to rush through the course. A lot of the stuff that I'm going to be saying for the people that have already done the course or are still doing the course, hopefully this stuff will start to make sense, especially when it comes to allergies, because most allergies are due to the same thing. Yeah. So that was on module 2 when I asked, when I was telling the students to refer to their notes. But when I'm telling the students to refer to their notes, that's the equivalent of you guys getting the downloadable worksheets. It's the same information. It's just that those students were actually at the university, so they had the notes in front of them. Angela. But yeah, so with allergies, most allergies originate from the same place, and that is histamine release. That is histamine release, yeah? So let's go through some of these things that you guys asked about. So peanuts, let's see if we can search this actually. All right, I'm going to share my screen because a lot of the allergies that we go through, the origin is kind of the same thing. Now this, for the people that have done the course, this should remind you, or this should be like a reminder of what you went through on module 4 when you learned about inflammation. So with inflammation, your white blood cells release histamine. That's like a response to inflammation. So if I just share my screen. If you look at this, histamine, or if I type in, do peanuts release histamine? Again, when I do my searches, I like to type something in, but don't finish the type and see what comes up. Because what usually comes up is what is usually searched the most. So I didn't even finish typing that. Foods that have been reported to have released histamine: citrus fruits, so lemons and limes, chocolate, walnuts, and peanuts. Now, is histamine bad? Let me just stop sharing. Is histamine bad? Not if it's under control. So your body releases, or your body uses an amino acid called histidine, and that gets converted to histamine. If it's under control, that's fine. It's when histamine is getting released too much. And anytime histamine is getting released too much, that's because white blood cells are releasing them. That's due to inflammation. So if there's too much inflammation in your body, the white blood cells will release histamine. And then histamine is what causes all the symptoms of every allergy out there. So if you got a skin irritation, that's due to some type of histamine release, yeah? So if I was to share my screen again, and we go to eczema, again, I've even typed in anything, and look, The second search is eczema and histamine. Eczema and histamine. Why does eczema itch? And then it says histamine directly stimulates histamine type 1, H1 receptors on itch-specific nerve fibers. So the itching that we get with any skin condition is due to histamine. The itching that you get with any skin condition is due to histamine. Now, how can we stop the itching? How can we stop the white blood cells from releasing histamine? Well, then we'd have to look at what sort of foods release histamine. And surprise, surprise, they're probably foods I don't even need to tell you, you could probably guess, yeah? So foods that release histamine: meat and dairy, processed, so I say processed meat and dairy, milk, and certain nuts. So like your peanuts, your cashew nuts. I hate to say it because I'm an almond guy, but almond nuts, these things release histamine. And if they're releasing too much histamine, then you're going to get that response. Actually, let me show you from the course, because this should just be a quick reminder for the people that have done module 4. If you haven't, then this is what you're going to see when you get onto module 4. You go share my screen. So this is where we talk about inflammation. Just listen to this part.
To occur. Red blood cells and white blood cells rush to the area. Now, white blood cells, they don't just engulf pathogens and viruses and bacteria. Sometimes they shoot out these chemicals. Sometimes they shoot out their ammo to help destroy the foreign invader. And some of these chemicals that they release are called histamine. Now, histamine is very irritating to the human body. If the white blood cells release histamine, it can cause irritations like eczema and asthma and hay fever and any other skin irritations can be due to histamine release. So if there's too much white blood cells releasing too many histamine chemicals inside of your system, it could lead to some form of allergy or irritating response. Hence the reason why if you suffer from any of these things and you go to the doctors, they usually prescribe you with what? Antihistamine tablets, antihistamine medication, because of the white blood cells releasing too much histamine in your system.
Anyone on histamine medication, antihistamine medication? So raw cacao butter applied to the skin would be an irritant. And we'd have to, when it comes to a lot of these products, it just depends on how processed it is. The more processed it is, the more it's going to have an issue, yeah? So I'm not sure with a lot of the stuff that people ask me about, you'd have to look at the label and see how processed it is. Remember, from the people that have done the course, when you look at a food label, the more ingredients, the more processed it is. So if it's full of ingredients, that means it's very processed. Walnuts should be okay. Walnuts should be okay. Remember, walnuts are the only nut that has omega-3 in it, or substantial amount of omega-3. So you should be all right with walnuts. However, we're all different. So I might be able to take walnuts, but it might release too much histamine in your body. And how would you know? Well, with me, I know straight away. I don't know if anyone else has had this happen to them, but I know straight away if I eat something, because I'm someone who used to suffer like badly from eczema and hay fever. I used to suffer badly. Like, I don't know if my sister's in the chat, but my sister will tell you, when we was growing up, I used to hate summer because summer meant suffer. You might as well call summer suffer to me. Because when I was growing up, I used to get mashed up from hay fever. hay fever used to mash me up, and I just associated it with summer because that's when it would happen. So I hated the sun. I hated summer. Every summer, my summer was spoiled from sneezing, coughing, irritant, eyes swelling up. I used to rub my eyes like crazy, eyes swelling up, eyes swelling up. And yeah, that was for decades, basically. Yeah, so they'll tell you to take antihistamines before eating certain fruits. Well, we just done the research. A lot of citrus fruits release histamine, so that's probably the reason why. So a lot of us, we take antihistamines, whether it's for asthma, hay fever, eczema, that sort of stuff. But now you know why. Now remember, histamine is something that the body naturally releases. So if we're taking antihistamines, we're stopping the body from doing something that's natural. And like I always say with the sun is the truth. So when I go out in the sun, if I start to suffer, like I did when I was younger from hay fever, I associate that suffering with the sun as opposed to something that I'm consuming. So it took me decades, but once I realized, I was in my 30s until I realized that the foods that I was eating, like meat, dairy, the nuts that I was eating, all of that was just releasing too much histamine in my body, creating inflammation and that sort of stuff. And that would lead to the histamine release. And the sun tends to reveal things that sometimes the winter doesn't. So you don't even realize how much histamine is getting released until the winter, the summertime, when you think everything should be cool and you're coughing and sneezing and rubbing your eyes and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I used to suffer from it a lot until I realized what the problem was and I started to cut out these things. So cutting out things that cause your gut inflammation. Cutting out things that cause your gut inflammation. Now this is going to be hard for a lot of us, but this is what you need to do if you want to reverse your allergies. You might have to cut out alcohol because alcohol will damage the gut. You might have to cut out milk and dairy because they'll damage the gut. Processed sugar, that's going to be the hardest one because there's processed sugar in pretty much everything. So it's going to be tough to cut out processed sugar out of everything, but that might be something that will help as well. And when I did that, I'll never forget, it was like 7, 8 years ago. And I did like what I said to do on the course, which is do a detox, a green juice detox. I just started a detox and I did it for 2 weeks. And I didn't eat, I was just drinking green vegetable juice. So obviously that flushed out all the nuts that I was eating. What else? The meat and dairy and the milk and that sort of stuff. So I wasn't consuming anything that was releasing histamine. So it was 2 weeks and it was June or July I did it, yeah? So it's summertime. And every summer for 30 odd years, I was suffering. Every summer without fail, there was not 1 year where I was like, okay, I'm gonna go through the whole summer and not suffer. No, every summer was just suffering. And then this summer I done the 2 weeks. It took me 2 weeks. It may take some of you longer or shorter, but it took me 2 weeks. 30 years of suffering, 2 weeks of a juice fast. And I'll never forget, like there was an event at Crystal Palace, an outdoor event, black event. I can't remember what it was, but it was a black event, outdoor event, loads of people there. And I was there. And my family know, obviously, every time summertime comes around, Leon suffers. So we're at this Crystal Palace Park now, outside. And we get there, and half an hour later, I haven't sneezed once. And both my sisters are looking at me like, Leon, you haven't sneezed or done or rubbed your eyes once. And trust me, in the past, it used to be constant sneezing. like constant sneezing, constant rubbing my eyes. And I was like, yeah, I haven't sneezed. And I went throughout the whole day, not sneezing once. I was like, wow. And I say all that to say this, anytime I eat something and it causes a histamine release, without fail, I'll sneeze after it. So let's say I'm not one to eat bread, but let's say sometimes I might eat bread. If I go out to dinner and whatever, I might eat a bit of bread. I'll sneeze straight away. Like straight away. There's no leading up to it, like straight away. If I eat peanuts or certain nuts and it releases too much histamine, I'll be like, right, I can see that straight away. And I'm talking about my experience with hay fever, but this is the culprit for all of those allergies, whether it's hay fever, eczema, even asthma, and even other skin conditions like acne, even acne. Now with acne, there's going to be a lot of inflammation because that's what the scarring is. The scarring is inflammation as well. So not just cutting out these foods, that's not going to be the only thing that's going to help. You're going to have to do other stuff as well. So for example, certain things that will help with healing are minerals like zinc. Zinc is going to help with healing. So if you've got scars, acne scars, zinc is going to help with healing. Let me show you that. I like to show what I'm saying so people can do their own research with this stuff. All right, so how can we get rid of this, all of this histamine? Histamine is going to cause inflammation and it can cause damage, yeah? So what you'll need is more zinc. So where can we get zinc from? Now, here's the thing, when you're doing research, you gotta be careful where you're searching and be careful what you type in. Because if I type in foods high in zinc, let's see what it comes up with. All right, so this is why we gotta be careful with what we search. Oysters contain more zinc, red meat, poultry, crab, lobster. So we don't want that. So then we might have to type in plant foods. All right, so walnuts is there. Look at that, chia seeds, ground linseed, hemp seeds, lentils, chickpeas, quinoa. These are some of the things that I choose for zinc. So zinc will help. Zinc plays a major role in regulating every phase of wound healing. Every phase of wound healing. And I showed these books on Friday when I done my live on Facebook. But when I'm researching this stuff, I use this book here, the Natural Remedies Encyclopedia. That's one of my Bibles. And this book here, which is the complete textbook of holistic self-diagnosis. Both of them very thick books. I use them for reference. Now, what it says in this book about zinc deficiencies. How would you know if you got a zinc deficiency? One, it takes you long to recover from something, like healing from something. So if you've got something damaged in your body, wherever it is, it takes you long to recover from that. Any wounds that take long to heal, that's a zinc deficiency. What I love about this book is it's not just text, it shows you diagrams, it shows you pictures. So what it says in that book is with regards to zinc deficiency, you'll know it through your nails, your toenails and your fingernails. If you start to get white spots on your nails, white spots, then you've got a zinc deficiency. Will do. So, complete textbook of holistic self-diagnosis. That's one. And Harold and those are the two books. Are there any other symptoms of zinc deficiency? All right, let me go on to one. I'll go into this one. So zinc deficiencies. Look up minerals. All right, so I'm just going to read out all the zinc deficiencies. Yeah, so if this applies to you, then you know you got to get more zinc in your diet. Skin changes, any changes to your skin, coloration and that sort of stuff. Or any changes to your skin with regards to rashes, diarrhea, mental disturbances, recurrent infections. How many of us suffer from the same infection? Recurrent infections. I know someone who they'll always tell me, oh, I've got an ear infection. That's a recurrent infection. You get rid of it, it comes back. Get rid of it, a couple months, it comes back. According to this, that's anytime you're getting recurrent infections, the same infection, that's zinc deficiency. And then it says here, other problems caused by lack of zinc include sleep and behavior disturbances, psychiatric illness, growth retardation, and then check this one out. Loss of sense of smell and taste. Loss of sense of smell and taste. Now, in this day and age, if you was to say something that you can't smell or taste, what would they say you have?
COVID.
COVID. Yeah, that's COVID. Or is it COVID? Are you just lacking in zinc? Didn't that African woman come out and say that there's two things you need for COVID? What was the hydro something?
Yeah.
Hydrochloroquine and zinc.
Zinc. Yeah.
Mad. Abnormal menstruation. Rheumatoid arthritis. Delayed wound healing. Mouth ulcers. A white coating on the tongue. A white coating on the tongue. So these are things that you can look in the mirror and check yourself right now. Pumpkin seeds, they're high in zinc. Yeah, pumpkin seeds are high in zinc. And then it says slow healing of wounds and skin diseases. Wow. White spots on finger and toenails. and hair loss and osteoporosis. So zinc is a very powerful one, yeah? Zinc is a very powerful one. So let's go back to Google, let's go back to a search and see where we get zinc from. So best plant sources of zinc. All right, so it's just that, the same thing we searched. All right, this is why I like the books, because sometimes the things that come up, they're not really that good for us, like tofu, that's soy, so you don't want to be dealing with that. So when I go back to the book now, just lost the page. Recommended sources for zinc: Nova Scotia dose. Remember, that's what we recommend on the course, dose. And if dose is high in zinc, guess what else is high in zinc? Someone said CMOS, yeah. What else then? Let's stay on that vibration, stay on that level. Dose, CMOS, you can give me another one just by guessing. If those two are high in zinc, what else could be high in zinc?
Red algae.
Yep. And kelp, yes. Yeah. So those are going to be high in zinc. Those are going to help with wound healing. A lot of us are suffering from. And bladder, yeah. Those are going to help with wound healing. A lot of us are suffering from inflammation, or internal damage. We need for that to be healed. All right. And chlorella could help as well. Yeah. Apparently though, you know, on the course, I say that we should consume chlorella over spirulina. Apparently spirulina's got more zinc than chlorella. Yeah. So even though chlorella, when it comes to overall nutrients, is better for us, apparently spirulina is higher in zinc. Just so you know, spirulina is higher in zinc. All right, so what of those allergies? Wow. Specific food allergies might be different. Specific food allergies might be different, but I'm talking about the general allergies that everyone suffers from. So your hay fever, your eczema, your asthma, any skin irritations like that. Those sort of things, you cut out the histamine causing foods or the histamine triggering foods, increase your zinc, and you won't have those symptoms again, or not again, but you won't have those symptoms whilst you're doing that. You won't have those symptoms. So it's very powerful for you to get zinc. That's going to help with wound healing. That's going to help with the inflammation, and then stop consuming the foods that are causing the histamine release. Like I literally couldn't believe it. I was like every year I hated summer, and then here I was after 2 weeks breathing like fresh air and just out in the sun. I was like, this is a miracle. This is amazing. So yeah, very important for you guys to do that if you have, especially if you've got children with those sort of things. Because look, if I go like this, does dairy, look what the first thing that comes up. Does dairy, I even typed in anything else, does dairy cause inflammation? This is the way I do my research sometimes. I just type it in and then see what the most popular searches are. Does dairy cause inflammation? Look at the bottom one. Does dairy cause acne? Look at the next one. Does dairy cause mucus? So does dairy cause inflammation? I didn't even want to type that in. I wanted to say, does dairy cause histamine release? And look what it says. The following foods contain higher levels of histamine. Fermented dairy products such as cheese, A lot of us, I know I was one of them, a lot of us, if we was to just stop eating cheese, our allergies would go away. I know I was one of us, like it's hard to come off of the cheese. But a lot of us, if we just put down the milk and put down the cheese, a lot of the allergies that we're suffering from would just literally go away overnight. So things to be, but yeah, that's very revealing. Does dairy cause inflammation? It obviously does. Dairy causes inflammation. But what else causes inflammation? It's not just dairy. Getting more specific to Black people now, the things that we put on our face and in our hair. So skin creams, if they're full of chemicals, that can be causing inflammation. Sometimes you don't see it. These things are going on internally. If I put something on my face, on my skin obviously gonna absorb it, and that goes into my bloodstream. So that can go to organs, tissues, that could affect anywhere in the body. Whew, that's a big one, Sandra. Nail extensions, what chemicals, like, this is my thing. Science is simple. It's literally 2 + 2. So I find it funny. I always laugh in my head. I don't want to laugh out loud, but I always laugh when I walk past a nail shop and I look inside the nail shop and I see the woman getting her nails done just like this. And the woman that's doing her nails is...
It's covered with a mask.
It's covered with a mask. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And she's doing your nails. My Lord. Just logic would say, hold on a second. If it's dangerous for you, ain't it dangerous for me? Sherelle, that's a very good rule. General rule, if you can't eat it, don't put it on your skin. It's true though. What I use on my skin, I tell people all the time, I get my moringa oil from Uncraft, they're a Black-owned company. I can put the moringa oil on my face, in my hair, I can put it in my mouth, I can put it on my salads. That's when you know there's no chemicals in it. Same with coconut oil. Put it on my face, put it on. I sometimes cook with it. I don't put the heat up higher, but I sometimes cook with it as well. And I can eat it as well. Now, nail extensions is a big one. What's bigger than nail extensions? Company name for moringa. Okay. Uncraft.com. Eyelashes, yeah. There you go. What's bigger than the nails? What we're putting in our hair. So the EDCs, every Black woman should know about EDCs, endocrine disrupting chemicals. Endocrine disrupting chemicals, this is what they put in a lot of Black women's hair products. I'm sure you saw it from a couple years ago. Let me show you. Just quickly share my screen. EDCs in Black hair products. So hair products popular with Black women may contain harmful chemicals. This was from 2018. And they found that a lot of the Black hair products aimed at Black women had what they call EDCs in it, endocrine disrupting chemicals. Now, people who are on the course, you know that if it's to do with endocrine, it's to do with hormones. If they disrupt your hormones, that's your health out the window. Yeah. So it could lead to early puberty, it could lead to obesity, it could lead to increased cancer risk. And that's what we're putting in our hair. And I always tell people that sometimes if we're like the food, they're messing with the food. So we know that a lot of the food that we eat is GMO, yeah? However, our digestive system is so strong, or maybe not these days, but it should be so strong that if we do eat something that's harmful, our digestive system will hopefully deal with it for us, and then we'll just excrete it out, yeah? So our digestive system will be like, okay, that's dangerous, put that over there. That's got a bit of nutrients, put that over there. Okay, that's dangerous, get that out of the body. And then you excrete it, yeah? So our digestive system kind of protects us from certain chemicals. But when you put chemicals on your scalp, which a lot of us do with regards to hair products, that goes straight into your bloodstream. That's now part of your biochemistry straight away. And that's going to lead to all types of inflammation. Inflammation is going to lead to histamine. Histamine is going to really lead to skin problems, fibroids, and all that sort of stuff, yeah? Gut problems. All right, so we done nails, so we might be getting too much chemicals through the nails, through the hair. We done skin cream, but what else are people putting on their skin?
Deodorant, the spray deodorants.
The deodorants as well, they're going to be highly chemical, and makeup. And makeup as well. So we got to understand that sometimes it's not just the food that's the issue. The food has got chemicals in it, but all of these other things that we're using as well, they've got chemicals in it as well. Yeah, look at that. A lot of us love a tattoo, like inking chemical on you. So it's crazy. And all of these things are causing Black people inflammation. And then that inflammation will lead to histamine release. And then we're wondering why we're having children who's got eczema, we've got children who's got asthma, we've got children who's got hay fever. So again, with regards to those allergies, the best way to cut down on those allergies is to not give up, because I know a lot of us, it will be hard for us to give up these foods, but what's causing the histamine release is milk, dairy, processed sugar, processed meat, fragrances as well. The fragrances that we spray on ourselves as well. That's a good one, Priscilla. Those are the things that are causing the white blood cells to release histamine. So I said, I told my story of how I suffered from hay fever for 30 odd years, and I've done a 2-week juice detox. 2 weeks. So 30 odd years of suffering, and then 2 weeks of a juice detox, and it got rid of my hay fever. But for some people, that's extreme, not eating for 2 weeks and just drinking green vegetable juice. So what we said, I don't know if you joined a bit late, but what we said with regards to hay fever and with regards to allergies is increase your zinc. You need more zinc, yeah? Because zinc is going to help with kind of quelling the release of histamine. Zinc, yeah? So we talked about zinc being powerful for wound healing. We talked about where to get zinc from. So you get zinc from sea vegetables would probably be the best source. So get zinc from your dulse, kelp, sea moss, getting lots of zinc from those. I'm not a fan of supplements, but if you know a good zinc supplement, then you might want to supplement with zinc. And someone asked earlier, how would you know you got a zinc deficiency? It takes you long to recover from wounds. So your wound healing is long, yeah? You get the same infections over and over again. So recurring infections. And a big one is looking at your nails. If you get white spots on your nails, everyone look at their nails now. You got any white spots on your nails? Fingernails, toenails? And Sandra said, neem oil, excellent for repairing wounds. Yeah, so neem oils, that's a good one as well. I'd have to check to see if neem is high in zinc. Let me just quickly check that. But yeah, I definitely know neem is very, very good for wound healing as well. Oh, skin conditions, definitely. Look at that. Well done. Yeah, so sometimes, again, putting two and two together, I always knew that neem was very powerful. Neem oil, excellent for repairing wounds and tissue and scarring, great anti-inflammatory. Now, just doing a bit of research, look at this. So neem, high in zinc, that's all I typed in. And it says here, and this is, when it says PubMed, you know, that's a scientific study. Due to its outstanding zinc uptake capacity, the neem tree was proved to be an excellent biomaterial for accumulating zinc from aqueous solutions. So neem is powerful, a powerful way to get zinc, because the neem tree absorbs a lot of zinc. Look at that. So zinc is very powerful, yeah? No, you don't want to consume neem. That's topical, and you might have to mix that with a carrier oil as well, because I know one neem is very potent. Oh yeah, you can do the leaves and make a tea with it. Yeah. But the oil, you don't want to consume the oil. Nah. But yeah, the tea, definitely do the tea. Yeah. But that's going to be powerful because of the zinc. And for the people who have joined us who didn't hear what we were saying about zinc, some of the zinc deficiency symptoms include, amongst other things, recurrent infections, problems with sleep, mental, psychiatric illnesses, growth retardation, and a loss of sense of smell and taste. What is HCQ? Is that the hydrochloroquine? Is that what they were talking about with regards to COVID? Neem powder, okay. Yeah. Another one that's going to be good for wound healing. And I don't know if they've got it on their website. I think they have it, but if anyone wants me to get in contact with the Ankara owner, I can see if he's got CBD oil, yeah? CBD oil is going to be very powerful for wound healing. But yeah, for the people that joined us late with regards to allergies, if you really want to quickly get rid of your allergies, you got to stop consuming the foods that release histamine, and that is peanuts, milk, dairy, processed sugar, processed meat, a lot of that stuff, and certain breads as well. But that's, yeah, certain chemicals in the bread and that. Those are going to cause histamine release, which is going to cause all of the symptoms that you have with all of those irritating allergies, whether it's eczema, asthma, or hay fever. They're all, the root cause is the same. Best to mix half teaspoon neem powder with half turmeric. Excellent. People try that. That sounds good. What do you think about vaping CBD oil? I've never tried it, so can't really comment on it. Never tried it. And then just to hit it home, again, some people, you put neem powder in your green juices, that must be powerful. Just to hit home. So you guys can start researching this stuff yourself. So it's not like, oh, Leon says, no, this is the research. So type in allergies and histamine and see what comes up. And look at that. In an allergic reaction, mast cells, those are white blood cells. Anytime you see the word mast cells, those are white blood cells. Mast cells release histamine, which triggers allergy symptoms. So if a person eats fish that has a high level of histamine, the response may resemble an allergic reaction to that food. Certain kinds of fish are more prone to cause histamine toxicity. And then this one says histamines start the process that hustles those allergens out of your body. They can make you sneeze, tear up, or itch. So, yeah. And again, for the people that have just joined the course, take your time going through the course. I just showed a clip from module 4 where we talk about histamines, yeah. So, very powerful stuff when you're trying to get rid of inflammation. Inflammation is one of the hardest things to get rid of. Inflammation is one of the hardest things to get rid of because inflammation, I said this in a previous Q&A, inflammation, the white blood cells, they're like, they're not bouncy like red blood cells. Red blood cells travel, red blood cells swim through your bloodstream. White blood cells crawl. And if I was to describe their shape, they're like, or their texture, they're like mushy, what are those sweets called again? Let me see if I can give you an example.
Marshmallow.
Marshmallows.
Marshmallows. That's what they're like. They're like mushy marshmallows. You know when marshmallows
Spongy.
spongy, and then when you start to eat it, it kind of starts to mold and get sticky and that sort of stuff. That's how the white blood cells are. Now think about if you had a lot of those in your body, yeah, at a certain site, yeah, and then you've got whatever over it, like your skin, you'd be able to tell if you've got inflammation. So just by like poking that area, and I'll give you an example from the course. Let me see if I can find that clip. You'll see, let me see if I've got it on here.
So I like this diagram. In too many is very cells. They don't, some form of the white blood cells come into, and some of these chemicals that they release are called histamine. Now, histamine is very irritating to the human body. If the white blood cells release histamine, it can cause irritations like eczema and asthma and hay fever and any other skin irritations can be due to histamine release. So if there's too much white blood cells releasing too many histamine chemicals inside of your system, it could lead to some form of allergy or irritating. Really prescribe one. Let's just see visual that helps. Red blood cell histamine increase.
Can't find it. There's a picture where I showed where I show someone poking into someone's foot, and it's like poking into like a
blood flow bacteria. White blood inside of histamine will issue the organ and now flip body to injury.
Let me see if I can show you. Foot inflammation. That's a okay one. Can everyone see that? So this is how you know you've got a lot of white blood cell activity. If you press into any area, so this is a foot, but if you press into any area and it doesn't bounce back, like it leaves a dent, that's inflammation. Yeah. What do you put in your green juices? Oh man, like, depends what day it is. Like, I'm always putting craziness in my green juices, but generally speaking, in my green juices, I usually have sea moss. That's the base usually. And then kale's a good one. Always have cucumber. Cucumber's high in water, so I'll have cucumber in there. Sometimes might put celery in there. And sometimes I'll put something like coriander or parsley in there. But yeah, with the greens, I like to experiment. So I'll go with Swiss chard, sometimes I'll go with spinach. Sometimes we've got to be careful with spinach because it's high in nitrogen. And, you know, from the course, nitrogen combined with hydrogen creates ammonia. So we've got to be careful sometimes with that. But yeah, as long as it's green and leafy, you can't really go wrong.
Don't forget your red onion.
And then my secret weapon. Yeah, my secret weapon. Onion, which I put in pretty much all my juices now, red onion. And for those of you who have just joined the course and you don't know why I put red onion in there, red onion is not only antiviral, so that's going to be good for this current pandemic. It's antiviral, but it's anti-cancer as well, because it's got a property in it called quercetin, and quercetin is very powerful. Yeah, you don't want to put too much in, Sabrina, it will spoil your drink. But that's something that I do. I put craziness in my juices sometimes. So yeah, you don't want to put too much in it, it will actually spoil your drink. To use a juicer or blender when making your juices. Depends, if I'm doing a juice fast, I'll use my juicer. Every day I use my blender, but if I'm doing a juice fast where I'm not eating anything, I'll use my juicer. Spirulina, yeah, I'll put spirulina sometimes in my juices. Generally go for chlorella, but I'll put spirulina sometimes. Chow chow, it's good, nutritious in green juices. Yeah, that's kind of like the same family, isn't it? Thanks for the tip. I'll do a research. Yeah. Sabrina, if you go to the Facebook page, if you're on our Facebook page, just scroll up this Facebook page. I've put information on quercetin, and you can read up on quercetin. Edema input to the lymphatic system. Yes, most definitely, because the lymphatic system is going to get rid of toxins. And if you've got white blood cells, again, they don't swim through your bloodstream, they stick. If you've got white blood cells sticking to things and then not allowing things to get through, that means you're going to have a buildup of toxins, which means your lymphatic system is going to have issues trying to, you know, flush all that stuff out. So yeah, edema is like the next stage. Once all of that starts to solidify, then yeah, that's edema. Garlic. Yeah, Dr. Sabi said that garlic is a poison, but I say just once you cook it, it takes out the potency of it. But yeah, garlic is powerful at getting rid of infections in your blood. If you've got anything going on in your blood, garlic will kill that. But because it's so powerful, you continue to use it, it's killed the infection, it's got rid of the infection, it will start damaging your blood vessels if you use too much. Garlic is powerful. But yeah, when it comes to getting rid of these allergies, from a lot of us, you're not going to be able to do the extreme, which is just cut out all the foods that cause it. So it might take a bit of time of cutting down on those foods, but now you know what the cause is, Yeah, if your lymph node has been removed. Yeah, so here's the thing when it comes on to holistic health. What we recommend with a holistic health sort of paradigm is pretty much the opposite of what they recommend. Well, when I say they, I mean sometimes the people who say they have the solutions for you, their solutions are usually surgery and or medication. Now, if you do surgery on any part of the body, especially when it's something as important as your lymph nodes, then that means your body is going to have to rely on something else to do that job. It's like when people have problems with their thyroid. Your thyroid regulates your metabolism. So if you have a problem with your thyroid and then they tell you, okay, we're gonna cut your thyroid out, then how are you going to regulate your own metabolism now? You're gonna have to rely on medication. With the onion flavor.
Perfect.
The blender. We mix with the greens. Cabbage. Yeah, with the red onion, I don't put a lot in because red onion is very powerful. Red onion is very powerful, so I don't put a lot in. I'll slice off a little bit, chop it up, put it in the blender. Go make sure you got a good blender, but yeah, your blender shouldn't have a problem with a tiny piece of red onion. That shouldn't be a problem. Green crucifers, leaves, cabbage, pineapple, ginger, turmeric. Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. All right, again, for the people that have just joined the course, thanks for joining the course. Take your time going through the modules, do the worksheets. Now, if you want to test your answers, and this goes for anyone that's done the course, even if you've completed the course, you can go back over a worksheet, because when you go through the worksheet, it's A, B, C, or D, and you have to answer them, but you don't know if you got it right. Well, most of it is just pretty straightforward, but if you want to test your answers, feel free to email me or ask me in the Q&As when we do this each week. Spirulina and chia seeds, that's good. Yeah. What did we say about chia seeds earlier? They're high in zinc, so we need that.
You did? Is he good looking? Is he good looking? Is he looking for pussy?
Oh, and when it comes on to certain other things that will cause us inflammation, yeah? When it comes on to our gut, like I said, if we're consuming chemicals through our mouth, hopefully our digestive system will deal with it and get rid of the chemicals, like get rid of the harmful stuff and make our body excrete it. But for that to happen, you need what they call good bacteria in your gut. Good bacteria, yeah? Because they'll tell you that there's good bacteria and bad bacteria, yeah? So there's just bacteria in your gut that is needed to help you, you know, get rid of infections, digest food properly, that sort of stuff. Now, if you're on antibiotics, it gets rid of all bacteria in your gut, all the microbiome in your gut. Antibiotics, it kills, gets rid of all of the bacteria, yeah? And this is why I always say with regards to science, we need to start breaking down the words. That's the only way you're gonna understand science, is break down the jargon. So for example, antibiotics, what does anti mean?
Against.
Against. And biotic, what does bio mean? Life. Life. So every time you take an antibiotic, you're taking something that is against your life. It's against your life. That's what it's doing. So it's killing all the bacteria that will help to keep you alive by getting rid of certain infections. This is what bacteria does in our gut, eating certain things to make sure that those things don't poison us and all that sort of stuff. When you take an antibiotic, you kill all of the bacteria in your gut because it's against life. Those bacteria, they're tiny living organisms. They're tiny life. The antibiotic kills them all. So antibiotics, that's against life. And then that's why anytime you take an antibiotic, it will affect certain other things with regards to your health in the long run. What is good bacteria for your gut? What do they call it? They call it probiotics. Look for probiotics. Now, I've taken some in the past, but I don't take any at the moment, so I can't really suggest what probiotic to take, but yeah, look for probiotics. Those are what they call the good bacteria, probiotics. I used to get recurrent tonsillitis. See, look at that, the antibiotics started to do something to your skin. I have cough every morning when I get up, then it goes away. I don't know what it is. Cough. That might be the cough one. That might just be due to dehydration. You got to check your water levels. How much water do you drink per day? Because I know some people that they have dry throat in the morning, they cough, so they have to go to bed and just literally have a glass of water next to them. So if they wake up in the middle of the night, they take a glass of water. But yeah, I've heard of that before, waking up with a cough. Thanks, Sylvie. Sylvie's recommended a probiotic. And a set. How do you improve bone health? Did you see my webinar on Friday where I talked about vitamin D? So we want to make sure that we're getting enough vitamin D, because that's going to help our body absorb calcium, and that's going to keep our bones healthy. Now, because we live in the UK, it's going to be very hard for us to get vitamin D, especially now. For the people that have done the course, you know that we get UVB light, which is the light we need for vitamin D. We get that between April and September. It's now September. So that means we're not going to be getting the sufficient amount of UVB for the rest of the year. So what are we going to do? Well, on Friday, I suggested things like maybe getting UVB lamps. But what I didn't suggest on Friday, which will be good for your bones in answer to your question, is weight-bearing exercises. And I talk about this on the course when I talk about exercises. You have to be doing things on a regular basis where you're bearing your own weight. Now, some people who have done the course, you guys give me some examples. What are weight-bearing exercises? Just give some examples. Drop them in the chat. Weight-bearing exercises. Doesn't have to be anything vigorous.
Squatting.
Squatting is weight-bearing, and it doesn't have to be with weight on your back as well. Your body is weight-bearing. Press-ups. Walking. Walking's the easiest one. Walking is a weight-bearing exercise. It means you're bearing your own weight. Walking is a weight-bearing exercise. Yeah, doing certain poses in yoga. Weight-bearing exercise. It means you're bearing your own weight. So think about if this is your leg and then your body's on top, your legs are bearing your own weight. Yeah. If you're not doing a lot of exercise every day, your bones are getting weaker and weaker. It's as simple as that. And when I say exercise, it doesn't mean going to the gym. Like we say, walking is a weight-bearing exercise. So skipping is an amazing one. Because think about this, if this is weight-bearing, and then this is the rest of your body on top, if you then jump and land the amount, now not everyone could do that because some of us have joint issues, but if you do that, that's going to be even better for your bones because that's more pressure on your bones. That's going to increase bone density. Rebounding, yeah. So kind of, if you can't do skipping, rebounding, you might have to get one of those bouncy things that people use for rebounding. Now cycling, you're sitting down. So you're not bearing your weight. Cycling is a great exercise, don't get me wrong. Cycling is a good exercise. But if we're talking about weight-bearing exercises, things that are gonna improve the density of your bones, if you sit down and then just move your legs like this, you're not bearing your own weight. The bicycle is. So cycling is not a weight, cycling is non-weight bearing. Good exercise, but it's not gonna help with bone density. You skip 15 minutes per day, that's excellent. Lifting weights, yep. Still have the hip problem, yeah. So if for people who have joint issues, they might have to start with non-weight bearing exercises. So cycling would be great if you have joint issues. Swimming would be great if you have joint issues, because if you're swimming, what's bearing your weight if you're swimming?
The water.
Water. Yeah. So the water's bearing your weight. So if you have joint issues and you can't do the weight bearing exercises, start with non-weight bearing exercises and work your way up to weight bearing.
Did you hear the news a couple of days ago, Leon, about with Matt Hancock? Exactly what you've been saying about the weather and the flu, and more people going to get COVID. He's just come out and said the same thing.
Yeah.
Because they've got it planned, isn't it? Because they know now what's going to happen with the flu, and everyone's going to get sick.
Yeah.
And summer is over. It's really crazy.
Yeah, and because of, I said this in the webinar on Friday, vitamin D activates our immune system. So think about it. If it wasn't for the sun and vitamin D, a lot of us would have colds and flus now. But because we're getting a little bit of UVB, because we're getting a little bit of sun, some of us are all right now. We're not suffering. Come September and October, where we don't have the UVB, you know, we don't have vitamin D, all of a sudden,
That's it.
Colds and flus.
Yeah.
And everything that we suffer from now on is going to be labeled as what?
Yeah, COVID.
COVID.
Yeah, but it's so crazy. He's saying people should have stayed in. And I thought, this is madness. Of course, we know they shouldn't have stayed in because they needed the sun. But you wait until the sun is finished, then you tell people that. Crazy.
But that's to make sure, to keep the fear in us, that's to make sure they can blame us. So it's because you guys weren't social distancing. It's because you guys didn't stay at home like we said to stay at home. It's because you guys weren't wearing masks. They'll turn around and say, that's the reason why there's a second wave. Because you guys didn't listen to us. So it's going to be crazy. The second wave, when everyone starts to get sick later on in the day, later on in the year. Yeah, God did bless us with a couple of days of the sun.
He did. Yes.
But we're going into that non-UVB realm now, September now. So we're getting into a time where we don't get the UVB, so we're not getting the vitamin D activation. We're not getting our immune system activated. So
thank you for your advice. It's working.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys as well. So, you know, like I say on the course, you guys need to be antioxidants and share this stuff. Share it with your friends and family. I know someone who completed the course, they were like, yeah, when I was explaining this to my family, I felt like a doctor. All the stuff I was saying. That's empowering. All right, and everyone, if there's no more questions, then let's end this here. Well, thanks everyone for joining. And
thank you so much. Thank you.
For the people that have just joined the course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
Thanks, Leon.
Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you, Leon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leon.
Take care.
Have a good week, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.